This video is sponsored by EA. Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I am sharing another exciting build. I was asked to create 3 of the lots for the new World of Copperdale that comes with the Sims 4 High School Years expansion pack, and this build is the starter home located on the pier or by the pier in Copperdale that your Sims will be able to move right on into out of criticism. Because it is a starter home, this home was meant to be kind of generic. It does have really close access to the pier though, as well as the park that is in this world. So it's a pretty good location, and it actually ends up being a 2-bedroom starter home for under 20,000 simoleons. But you're not going to see footage of me adding the second bedroom because I actually ended up having to add that after the fact. After I submitted my final versions of this build, I got a little message being like, hey, can you show me how you would add a second bedroom onto this? So I can bring it to a meeting and we can get that added in. I still want you to have creative control over it, but I didn't have access to the game anymore. So I did have to kind of redraw this house out in my game and take screenshots of where I would think a second bedroom would fit the best. And so I didn't fully get to decorate that room, but I got to work it into the layout. So that was quite nice. But anyway, here I am playing around with some more wallpapers as well as the floor plan. When you first walk in, over to the right side is where the kitchen is. We have a very long, narrow bathroom. And our primary and also only bedroom in this version is in the back of the build. But working on the kitchen now, it's pretty small. It's very cozy. That was sort of the vibe I was going for in this house, is to make it a really small starter home because then it feels a little bit more full and lived in, even though it is under that 28,000 simoleon price mark. So that was definitely what I was trying to do here. I think it's probably the closest that I'll ever get to making a tiny house officially in the game, because I don't think I would ever get to do this again, and it was such a cool experience. I was glad to make something a little bit on the small side. I was immediately like, yes, I would like the starter home, the 20 by 15, give it to me, please. So I was really excited to go ahead and create this little starter home here. So just getting some clutter in the kitchen. I think most of that ends up going away in the end, and then trying to figure out the living room, and I got carried away with furniture. I'm just gonna say it. I started putting in all kinds of new items we got, which are very colorful, not neutral at all, not very open to who could potentially live here. I was just like, yay, let's put down new items. And also, at this point in time when I was building this, not all of the items were priced yet. So they were in the game, but they didn't have their accurate pricing. So it might have fit into my 20,000 simoleon budget when I was building it, but that didn't mean it was actually going to stay within that budget. So, I end up having to change a lot of that. Actually, after the first review, they asked me to build a version of this house just using base game for the most part, which I did with the exception of a couple of things, primarily the windows on the front and the back. And then I was able to re-add in a couple of items from the pack later on. But it worked out okay in the end, and I really like the more like cabin-y vibe it ends up going with. Obviously right now it doesn't have that. I have like mint couches in the living room, and I think it looks really cute, but it was not the vibe we were going for in this house, so I did have to change it. But right now I'm trying to figure out some curtains and a coffee table over here in the living space. And I really like the new furniture that came with this pack. I didn't use those couches obviously, but they're very pretty. I really, really enjoy them, and I'm excited to do some more builds using all of the items from this pack once I get access to it again. I'll probably work on some like apartments and stuff. We got some really cool styles with this particular pack. So let me know what you would like to see for future builds, of course. But here we are doing some changes here, trying to make it a little bit more neutral, sort of. I was also getting some posters. I actually think this is before the first review. I was just still adding things in here and making sure there was more personality. But most of this just goes away because I needed to strip it of personality and make it very, very simple. But I think that's what you want in a starter home anyway. It's probably more desired for you to be able to decorate it to your Sims needs than it to be overly stylized, which is definitely what I normally do, is make them overly stylized. So maybe this is like a nice thing to see on my channel. Let me know But anyway, I got a couple of rugs in here, which I will be getting rid of in the end as well. They are so cute though. Oh my gosh, the rugs in this pack are adorable. I really, really enjoy them. Pretty much all of the stuff in this pack is really cute. But just getting a table and chairs over here. I'm pretty sure keep this table, but I might change the chairs. I was trying to stick to budget and also colors that I needed to stick to because I end up changing it to be way more like brown. Anyway, this is after the first review. I'm working on some different landscaping. One other thing I end up doing with this house is I didn't like the overhang on the roof because of how small the house was. So I do end up getting rid of the overhang, and I think it helps a lot. And I also extend the front porch, so there's some more space out there, and I think it helps with the roof line quite a bit as well. But right now, just placing down lots of plants, and of course I couldn't use move objects or debug or any of that. So just trying to figure out how to place these in a way that looks realistic, even though I can't really overlap them, and trying to get a little pathway here as well. I will be coming back and changing a lot of this, but this is just my first attempt at getting some of the decorations on the outside and the landscaping and all of that. And this is actually my build out of the 3 I did that had the least amount of changes from each meeting. So that was kind of cool. The biggest change was obviously after the fact when I had to give a little bit of feedback on how to add a second bedroom to this build. But through the actual process of building it, there weren't that many changes. It was just minor things. And then, of course, the initial, using all of the pack items and them not being priced yet. So having to go back and fix that. But we're changing the colors now to try and incorporate like a brick and make it look a little bit more dated and like a little cabin space. So getting rid of the bed and some of the other items in here and trying to make it look just a little bit more, I don't know, basic and darker colors. So changing those in the kitchen as well. But I kept going back. I'm pretty sure I ended up keeping the swatch that I have in the kitchen. I was just a little bit indecisive. Oh wait, I might have gone with the grayish swatch. Anyway, in the living room here, I'm just grabbing some base game sofas. I thought that those worked nicely. And also bringing in some more textures on the outside and inside of the build, trying to figure out what sort of design I wanted to go for, what sort of colors and the paneling. I think the wood paneling on the inside looks really nice. It gives that dated look, but it also gives a little bit of style to the space. So I quite enjoyed that. And then just getting a rug in here. I really wasn't sure which one I wanted. So I ended up putting both down. I don't remember what I ended up with in the end, to be honest, but that was the initial thought. Here I am extending the front porch though to add a little bit more interest to the roof line. I end up having like a little piece over here that is covered, and I just think that helps a lot. There was something that I didn't like about the front of this build, and doing that and then also getting rid of the eaves, which I should be doing here shortly, I think really, really helped out the look of this little starter home. So I was glad that I did that. I'm not sure when I get rid of the eaves. I'm pretty sure I also put a chess table out here, but that's not present in the final version. And I'm assuming for performance, but it's not there. So apologies. And then I'm just extending the living room here a little bit to give it a little bit more space, a little bit more breathing room, which worked out nicely because I'm going to end up having to have a second bedroom off of this space as well. And it allowed me to add a 3-seater couch in here and just playing around with the rugs as well. See, I got rid of one of them in the end and getting some darker terrain paint. Lots of changing of the outside terrain for sure. I was very indecisive about that, but that's not too surprising. And then working on some more of the landscaping, figuring out what plants would work there. I really like the darker dirt that I put down here. I think it fits the vibe a little bit better, and this house just feels more like it belongs here with these swatches, with the wood paneling and the brick. I just think it makes a lot more sense than what I had originally been going for. I think I was just really excited to use all the items and was focusing more on that. But anyway, in here, I'm just grabbing a shelf I wanted to put some clutter on. I don't think it in the end ends up having much on it, but I decided to use that. And then I also was swapping out the sink and stuff in the bathroom, but I did keep the mirror that came with the new pack and put that in the bathroom, and also adding in the side tables so that I could have some new items in here. I do also end up getting the new bed in here as well. I know for a while I got rid of everything from the pack But at this point, I was re-adding in as much as I possibly could. And that way, whatever they were able to keep, they would keep. So I ended up using this bed that I should be grabbing here shortly. Yeah, there it was. You could see it for like half a second. You'll see it in the screenshots in the tour at the end. But it's green and I think it's really pretty. And I think the space just has so much life to it. And it really looks like it is a bit of an older place. And I really enjoy that about this build. It was a really fun one. I'm so glad I got to build the starter home for the pack. It's so cool. Anyway, we're going to head on into that tour now. So I hope you enjoyed this. And let's take a closer look at the starter home on the historic pier of Copperdale. All right, popping in now to do a tour of this starter home. This is actually the build that I did that changed the most from what I submitted to the final version, because a few weeks after our final submissions, I didn't have access to the pack anymore. I was asked if I could draw out where I would add a second bedroom. This house was originally only supposed to have one bedroom, but they decided they wanted it to be a 2-bedroom starter home instead. So I had to figure that out and send screenshots. So there is a second bedroom added on. It's pretty simple. So we'll get into that. But when you walk in the front door here, we have our little dining space right next to the little kitchen area, which I really, really love. I love the new windows that come with this pack. And I just like the layout of the kitchen with the big window above the sink and like the view out the window of Copperdale. I just think it's gorgeous. So I was very happy with that kitchen. And then over through this way, we have our little we have our little living room space. The door is open. Sim was just leaving, but it looks like this. It looks like one of the shelves that I placed got removed, I'm assuming for performance. Having extra items and clutter can inhibit the game. So I'm assuming that's why that got removed. There was a shelf here. And then this is the bathroom in the space. This is the primary bedroom that I built. It's just a bed and bedside tables. It's pretty simple. We had to stick to a budget. And then this is the second bedroom added on. It's just got a table and a bed, or a bedside table and a bed. So this would be decent for a teen. We wanted to keep this house really simple and neutral, other than it being a little bit outdated and like a cabin looking house, because if you're starting out the game, you're going to customize it to whatever Sims you have. So keeping it fairly neutral makes the most sense. So yeah, that is what the starter home looks like. I think it's super cute. We have a little deck out back and it views out to the water and the pier. So from the starter home, you can actually see all of this fun activities going on. I really like it. I had a lot of fun with this build as well. Obviously, it's a lot smaller and it was a lot of challenging time because I didn't have too many changes on this house, but I did have to limit to what items to use and use a lot of base game and be very conscious of price. That was difficult, and actually having to spend money on landscaping is not something I am used to. So yeah, that is the starter home that I built for high school years. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you've enjoyed all of the videos I've put out so far. I think this is the last one going up, but I hope you enjoyed the videos I put out on the 3 builds that I built for this world. It was such a dream come true to work on this. So thank you again to EA, and thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for the screenshots. Bye everyone!